you really do need to be in the pursuit of feeling great all the time and not just feeling fine. I don't want to just feel fine. I want to be a superhero.
Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted. I'm your host, Jesse Malinowski. We are going to dive into acting insights, meet industry pros, and master the business. Don't forget to subscribe and share. We're keeping you behind the scenes and ahead of the game. Hey, what's going on, everyone? My name is Jesse Malinowski. Welcome to Get Scene Unscripted, a brand new podcast coming your way, and I'm super excited to be bringing in all of our incredible guests that we continue to work with and have been over the last decade. Some of the top agents and casting directors here in the Southeast, along with some of my most successful actor friends as well. But for our first episode, it had no competition on who I was going to bring in. It was the beautiful, the wonderful, my wife, Candi Malinowski. However, her actor name is way better, and I thank you for taking my last name, but Candi VandiZandi.
That's me.
And I know everyone is like, there's no way that's your real name, so you can just go ahead and talk about that.
It is my real name. It's cool now, but it wasn't cool in kindergarten. It was actually really horrific. But no, my name is Candi VandiZandi. It's Dutch. It means from the sand. So I'm like a pearl, I guess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But you don't even like pearls.
Pearls are fine.
Oh, all right.
So Candi VandiZandi was my actor name because Candice VandiZandi is way too long to put on a headshot. And that's still my actor name. But now my real life name is Malinowski.
Well, Candi VandiZandi, I mean, I remember you were at my house, and we learned that it was VandiZandi, and that
Your house with your roommates?
with my roommates, the bungalow, as we called it back in the day. So we were at the bungalow, and I remember being like, too bad your name's not Mandy.
Yeah,
Do you
so
remember?
I could really sound like a stripper. Yeah, too bad.
And so you were like, well, I can go by Candi. And I was like, oh my gosh, Candi VandiZandi. This has to be your name. But I remember you being a little scared about it.
Well, yeah, because my agent at the time was like, I don't like three names. Three names is weird. And I was like, I don't know. Is it really going to like pigeonhole me? You know, here's the thing. I think actors get really caught up in this like name thing. Like actors will email me and their name is like Liza Jane. And then all of a sudden they'll email me again and they're like, I'm Emily Sue. And I'm like, these names aren't even kind of the same. So I think like you get really caught up when you become an actor and you're like, maybe I need a new name, but it's got to be the right name because I want it to really like represent me. So anyways, I just thought Candi VandiZandi sounded a little comical and nobody would take me seriously.
But every audition you go in, what happens? They love it.
They do love it. Yeah.
Yeah. All right. Well, some people may not know this, but Candi was an intern, one of our helpers, if you will, at Get Scene.
Wait a second.
Oh.
First of all, I'm like one of your helpers. I was like the only helper.
Well, there were other people.
Kind of.
Yes, I'm very thankful for the team and everyone that helped at Get Scene. Yes.
Right. But I'm like, I was like,
You were the best.
well, I was also really just like me and Virginia for
Yes.
a while.
Virginia Kirby. Love Virginia.
Yeah.
She helped us so much in so many things.
Yeah.
But now, with us being married, you are officially co-owner of Get Scene.
Oh, okay. It was the marriage that did it?
It was the marriage that did it, but I feel
Okay.
like you earned it.
No, I
did.
100% earned it.
Yeah, I know.
Yeah.
Well, my question is, can you talk about some of the triumphs that maybe you have seen with Get Scene?
Yeah.
Or struggles, if you'd rather talk about that, I guess.
Well, no, I mean, the struggle really, the first thing that comes to mind is like, man, there are so many ants in Georgia. And like, you don't even think about like ants coming down through the taping room when you're trying to tape people, but like just like ants, like creepy crawling down the back wall, like while you're trying to tape.
So annoying. And I remember my mom, when I was opening up Get Scene, she was like, for some reason, so obsessed that we had good snacks And she's like,
well, you know why? Because you are 0% interested in ever eating. And so thankfully, another woman in your life was like, no, you have to give people food.
right. Well, she was I'm just saying that probably contributed to the ants.
I don't even know. No, it was the sugar for the coffee that contributed to the ants. And the
Keurig
rain.
hack.
When it rains in Georgia.
Our Keurig, how many times did the Keurig break?
You
Speaking
shouldn't
of coffee?
tell people that.
Don't
That's
tell people?
embarrassing.
All right, the Keurig broke a couple times. 3 times. 3 times? I just took that thing back to
I just
Sam's
said
Club.
don't tell anyone. That's
gotta tell her.
embarrassing. It's embarrassing.
Why? No, it's not. I just took that thing with no box back to Sam's Club, and they gave me a new one. They did. I remember you would be like, this is not going to work.
Well, that's your Get Seen triumph. That's what you remember from Get Seen. I got 2 Keurigs.
No, like 3.
3 Keurigs for free. I mean, to be honest with you, we should have just stopped buying Keurigs. Like,
yeah,
that's probably what it should have been.
that would have helped with the ants. So those were the struggles. So
right.
the ants, which is true, but
no, I mean, I think like we created the first walk-in self-taping service, and that was massively successful. I remember we would have up to, 24 people a day coming in. They'd release the break. You'd see it because everybody would get it, right? They'd release the breakdown, and it's like, you're reading for this role, but you're reading these 2 sides, but then we want 3 takes of each of these sides. So you'd have 20 people in the deadlines in 24 hours, right? So you'd have everybody rushing to get it taped, and everybody be doing 6 takes, and you're just like, oh my gosh, this is a lot of people and a lot to do. But that was great because we were able to help so many actors. And personally, it was really good because when you read with people, you just continue to get better at script analysis. You continue to get better at your own craft. You see what's working, what's not working. And then, you help people and they come back and they say, I booked. And you're like, that's amazing. Because you're like, we booked that together. You had a dream of having a large space with a theater, and we accomplished that. And that was really busy all the time. So I think just continuing to evolve and grow and change is something that the Get Seen brand has done. And I think that's a triumph in itself.
Yeah, for sure. You talked about the taping service and how it helped you with script analysis. I feel like as actors, we always have a friend or someone that we will also tape or whatever. And so you were doing that before you ran the taping service. At what point do you think it starts to help way more? Is there a certain number of scripts that you're breaking down per week, or is it just the every single day, right? Because you were there Monday through Friday. But I guess I'm just if an actor was you know what, I know that's going to help me, and I want to do that. Maybe I'm not opening a taping service, right? But how many people do they need to be helping?
It's how many different people too, because it's not just taping one gender or ethnicity or age group. I was doing kids, I was doing seniors, I was doing men, I was doing women, you know what I mean? I think it's not so much a number of how many, it's about consistently doing it. Because the more consistent you are in doing it, the faster you're going to sharpen those skills. So it's not I did 50 people and now I've really got it. I think it's about consistently doing it. Especially, I think that's the best thing you can do. Being in classes is great, but just volunteering to tape people is really, really good for you.
I think that's a good point, right? And that's something that an actor could focus on. That you're okay, I haven't taped anyone in a couple of days, or I haven't taped anyone in a few days. You can make your markers whatever you want, as the actor, at least I got to do this at least a couple times a week, or I want to try to do it every day. And it's upping that actor community. And like you said, it was all the demographics too, right? If you're only taping the same demographic, then they all get the auditions at once. Where if it's a different one, then different auditions come in, right? So yeah, being able to help as many of your actor community tribe members, if you will, and really staying on top of that.
I feel a lot of times you sort of gravitate as a person to people who are also your type. So your friends are potentially auditioning for the same thing you are. And that doesn't really give you any, like you just get such a closed-minded picture of like what's going on in the industry and like what's roles are available in the shows and like other types of scenes to break down. And, something that was also really helpful for us was we were also getting people from out of town because it was walk-in. So like I would see shows, pilots from LA come in and get to work with them on their scripts. So I think especially now that we've gotten through the pandemic, like really being a champion for other people and volunteering to read is not only helpful for them, but it's so, so valuable for you as an actor.
Did you see like a big difference between the actor that came in from out of town and how they maybe auditioned compared to the average Atlanta or Southeast actor?
Yeah, I feel like they were just way more confident. And it wasn't like, when I would take people from LA, a lot of times they would hold the script. So it wasn't necessarily like they knew all the lines. Now, granted, their scripts were like 11 pages. So, it wasn't necessarily that they knew all the lines, but it's like they knew exactly what they wanted and how they wanted it to be filmed. They'd be like, I need you to move the lights here. I want the camera here. I want it to look like this. All right, let me see it. No, I don't like how I moved here. It was just a lot different. A lot of the Southeast actors would sort of come in wanting me or whoever was taping to like make all the choices for them. But I felt like when people would come in from LA or come in from New York, they were just very much in ownership of their art and in ownership of what they wanted it to look like. And it was great for me because I loved seeing that confidence, and it just made for a much better audition.
You spent time in Los Angeles as an actor. How do you feel like that maybe changed your perspective coming back to Atlanta and continuing to chase it, and just kind of, I guess, maybe like the entire entertainment industry in general?
I mean, I think something that stands out for both markets is that like a lot of people here will say, well, I want to move to LA because LA is going to be different, right? And I'm not saying that that's like not how it is, like that it wouldn't be somebody's path because they can't predict someone else's path. But I do feel like the same struggles and things that like people are feeling here are the same things in LA. Like, there were just so many actors in LA that were not happy, And look, there's nothing wrong with this, but I'm like, they're in their 30s and 40s doing a career that they don't love to try to become an actor, and they're just so desperate. And it's like, there's just this feeling of like constantly trying to grasp at straws. And I think sometimes actors here can feel like that as well. And so that's why I just think it's really important that you find a community of people you get plugged into that don't just focus on acting all the time, that also focus on doing other things to make you happy besides just working and acting. Because in LA, it's so expensive. You really didn't have time to you're in an acting class and you're working 7 jobs, right? Like that's how it is, just so you can live in this like tiny little shoebox room. It's really important, I think, to have things that you love outside of acting. And I think it's really important that you don't just identify as an actor, that there's so many other things that you can find joy in. And I think that that's how it was out there. And I think that sometimes I see that out here. And I just think that like that's something we as a community need to kind of push through.
I remember saying the exact same thing when I lived in New York. I'm like, I'm literally like working as much as I can, as hard as I can, just to like survive.
Right.
And then I don't have any time to actually go after my dreams of being an actor. And that was one of the reasons that I left New York, and really at that time, like I thought I was going to give up actually. And luckily the business kind of brought me back in. But you were talking about balance. How do you feel like you balance your life? Or do you sometimes struggle with that too?
I mean, I really like to be busy. I just need to make sure that I always have something that I'm working towards. So whether that's something personally or professionally, I would rather keep my schedule full than like have a totally free day. Sometimes that kind of freaks me out. I think that I find the balance in just making sure that if something ever doesn't feel good, like especially with acting, if I'm like getting auditions and I just am not feeling excited about them, then I need to figure out what that is. Is it that I didn't have enough time to put into them? Is it that I feel like I'm overwhelmed and I'm putting too much time into them? Is it that I feel like this character isn't right for me? And in that case, I probably just need to do more homework to try to make it fit me better. Like, if I'm not feeling good about it, then I probably need to go do something else, like go take a walk or go on a hike or go, because I always say this, like, acting is a choice. Like, nobody's forcing you to do it. And so I think if there's anything in your life that you're just feeling unhappy with, I think it means like you need to take a step back from it and try to incorporate some other things in there. So my balance comes from my checks and balances of how do I feel about this? Like, whether it's the gym or with acting, or am I putting too much time and focus on this? Do I need to incorporate some other things?
Yeah, and you can cover your ears, but because there's no girls before you. But when I was dating
Right.
before you, one of the problems I always felt like was like, I'm like, I need someone that's going to challenge me. And that was one of the things that I thought you did a really good job with, is challenging me when
Because
it came.
I beat you in the games.
No, I beat you in the games.
Because I beat you in all the games.
Listen, you tested video games and then I beat you in every video game.
You beat me in one video game. It was football, which I
beat you in the
didn't
racing
test.
games too.
Also, I don't like sports games.
That's fine. Anyway, you challenged me really on the health and wellness journey. And so I feel like you were so passionate about that and just really so knowledgeable in that area
Because
too.
I'm a doctor.
Oh my gosh. Everyone, we went on a cruise and we were sitting with a doctor.
This was probably the best moment of my life. I mean, getting married was great, but like this moment.
When this happened, everyone, I was like, I wish you didn't say that, sir. Literally, this doctor, this retired doctor is talking to us at dinner, and then Candace starts talking, and she is really knowledgeable about this stuff because she just does so much research. And then he says something along the lines of, wow, you're like a doctor.
Mm.
And I was like, no, sir. Don't say that.
It was too late.
It was too late. So anyway, yeah, I don't know when we first got together if you were a doctor, but you're close to being a doctor now, I guess.
I've always been a doctor.
Okay. Well, anyway, where did this passion come from? Because I actually don't even know.
Oh, well, I think a lot of it has to do with vanity. If I'm being honest.
Yeah, please
Because aging is a disease, and I'm all about fighting diseases. So Stella Adler has a quote that I've always loved, and
bringing this back to acting, interesting.
This is the whole point of this, right?
Wow, yeah.
I'm doing a great job.
I didn't say you weren't.
Yeah. So Stella Adler has a quote that I love, and she says, actors can't get sick, or actors don't get sick. And I just think that's so true, because it's like nobody's checking in with you. Like, hey, are you feeling okay today? Like, can you do this guest star audition? Or like, hey, do you feel like driving overnight to Louisiana to audition for this one-liner? Like, is that okay? Like, are you like physically capable to say that you can roller skate in this music video? You know what I mean? Like, nobody has time to like check in with you. And so you really do need to be in the pursuit of feeling great all the time and not just feeling fine. I think a lot of people confuse feeling okay and feeling fine with feeling great. For me, it's not enough to just feel fine. I want to be a superhero. Like, I want to, figure out how I can biohack my body to stay up if I need to and get great sleep when I'm sleeping and have great skin and, have the energy to do all of these things and memorize lines well. And I just think that to me has always been really fascinating, because I do know that you have the ability to change how you feel with the different inputs that you put, whether it's the things you eat or the things you drink or the exercise that you do. Like, you can change your body and you can change your mind, you can change how you feel. And so all of that is just really important, because you can't be your optimal self if you're not feeling great,
Yeah, you said that the difference of feeling fine or okay and great, but that maybe some people don't necessarily know the difference. How do you think they figure that out? Like, hey, you're actually at like mediocre.
Yeah.
And you should be fighting to get to great. how does someone distinguish that or figure it out?
Yeah, I mean, I think first of all, we accept a lot of things as normal that I don't personally think are normal. Like we accept afternoon fatigue as normal. Like, well, I just need to go get another cup of coffee. Or like we accept getting older and like feeling achy or like injuring ourselves from sleeping. Like we accept these things as no, don't laugh. That's a real thing. When you, after you turn 30, like when you wake up, you're like, oh my gosh, I slept incorrectly, which I didn't realize
Didn't know that was a thing. Yeah.
And I think that that phrase like, oh, I'm having a snack attack. You know what I mean? Like, I think we just accept these feelings as something that's normal. Like, it's normal to feel like crap, or it's normal to like be hungover, or it's normal to like crash in the afternoon, or it's normal to not have any energy. Like, and I think that people should really kind of reevaluate what, like, do you really feel like that's normal, or do you feel like that might be something society has told you is normal? And then see how, you know, like how that resonates with you. Because I don't resonate with, I know that like my ancestors probably didn't have a 2:00 afternoon crash, right? I don't think that they did. I think they were like just trying to survive, like fighting woolly mammoths, you know? So
Right.
I don't think they're like, I'm having a snack attack. Like, gotta go get a fruit roll up. Like, I don't think that's what was happening. Yeah, I think that we need to be really mindful of what has marketing told us is normal for a human body to feel, and what is actually, where do we want to be? Because I think that you can get to where you want to be. You know, it just takes maybe cutting out some bad habits.
Yeah. Well, everyone that I know, I get messages like, I want to drink Jesse's coffee. Now you see, I just have a fantastic wife making sure that I'm putting all the right things in my body. And that's really where all the energy comes from.
You have a different amount of crazy energy though. You have a different amount of, like, I feel good, but you have like crazy energy that I've never, you're different.
Who was it the other day that said like I would play a golden retriever in a Pixar movie?
Everybody says that.
Yeah.
That's your spirit animal.
I'm like, yes, I would be a golden retriever.
Yeah.
They're just so happy and running around and excited about life.
You're great.
That's what I'm talking about.
That's you.
Thanks so much for tuning into the podcast. If you're an actor and you're enjoying this, then I can promise you are going to love the Atlanta Actor Summit, brought to you by Get Scene Studios. It is our 3-day online event that is going to blow you away. Since we're Get Scene, you can expect the top industry pros. You can expect to come together with other actors and really gain that actor tribe and build that community. And then you're going to be able to put together a really solid game plan for your 2024. So everyone, the event is December 1st, 2nd, and 3rd. It is the Atlanta Actor Summit. You will not want to miss it. Right now is early bird pricing. So you can grab your ticket right now and get it at the most affordable rate. Again, this is a 3-day virtual event. So mark the days off and grab your ticket now and enjoy the rest of the podcast. One of the things that you kind of went through, but I really want to compliment you on it, and I think your story will help some people here, is that for a long time you were vegan, and then you switched to being carnivore, which is a complete opposite journey. And I know that there was some struggles, and really, I mean, for both of us to go through together. But I mean, that must have been really hard. And I think a lot of people go through things and they have things that are connected to their identity, and they think, well, if I change, then I'm wrong, or I'm bad, or I've been a hypocrite. And so people don't want to change for the better. And not that carnivore is better or vegan is better. It's just better for you.
Yeah.
I think people struggle with, making some drastic changes.
I mean, I think you could use that analogy for I see that also with people only studying with one acting coach, one method. They're like, this is the method I use. Like, this is what I believe is true, and this is who I am. And especially when we're talking about diet, I think that we really just want to find support, and we want to find people that are like us, and we want to connect, and food is an easy way to connect with people. Sometimes there's a lot of really loud voices that just aren't good for you, but you can't hear them because everybody's talking all at one time. For me, I loved being vegan. I didn't want to change necessarily, but I know now that I was also ignoring a lot of the health things that were coming up because I was thinking, well, I just like wasn't vegan enough, right? Like I just wasn't eating enough kale. Like I just didn't have enough spinach in my smoothie, even though I had a pound of spinach in my smoothie and it tasted awful, but I just wasn't vegan enough. And it was really hard because I felt like, what is everybody going to think? Like, I had vegan in my Instagram profile. So, like, what am I going to do? Yeah. Am I going to delete all the pictures of me eating vegan food? Like, are people going to think I'm a hypocrite if I post a picture? Well, I did. But obviously I did. I didn't want any kind of conflicting messaging here.
Sure.
But it's just like, not for everybody, but I know for me, like it really was a community that I had been. I mean, when I was in LA, I did tours with PETA. Like it really became a community. And I think like when you're around people and they're all passionate about the same thing, like you just get really caught up in that. And it's very scary to change. Even if you know for you, it will make you feel better. And I think that sometimes we can get involved even in like an acting community where we may realize that we're not feeling good. Like the voices we're hearing are really loud, but they're like negative, or the voices we're hearing aren't actually helping us move forward in career, or they are kind of like, like we're passionate, but like in a way that's just making us feel bad. Like you feel worse after going to class, right? Or you feel worse after listening to that person talk. And it makes you feel bad about like yourself and your career. And it can be really subtle at first, but like then you start to rub off on other people, like you start to become that negative person. And so I think it's important to really check in with yourself and say, are you willing to change, even if that means changing everything that you know? And if you could have something better, like, is that worth it to you? For me, I realized that I wasn't willing to spend my entire life suffering and feeling bad because of something that I thought that I was. Like I wanted to have a life where I felt like I could eat food and it didn't destroy me, right? Like I could get out of bed and not hurt. Like I wasn't bloated all the time. Like I could go to the gym and not feel like my whole body was broken from working out, and I wasn't having that type of life when I was vegan. And so, yeah, carnivore might be a little extreme, but I feel amazing. And that's the most important thing, is that I know that I'm nourishing my body and I feel good. And so while that's not for everybody, I think that that's something that you can kind of take and apply to any area in your life. Like, do you feel the best that you can feel? Because if not, are you willing to do the things to change it?
Well, I don't even think it's like, are you willing? It's like, step up to the plate.
Yeah.
And know that there's a better way. And, and I think something to bring up is like, you weren't like vegan one day and then carnivore the next. It was like a bunch of changes within your diet that you were trying to figure out. And since you kind of brought that up to maybe, people within their actor journey or actor friends or communities that for whatever reason, maybe they're not feeling good about. I mean, it doesn't necessarily mean you have to like change everything, tell everyone to F off or whatever it is, right? Like it's small changes in search for feeling fantastic and feeling great and feeling your best.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not saying that you need to go drop all your friends, but what I am saying is like, if you have some friends that you notice are just complaining and normally you would complain, try just changing the subject, right? Like try to just not do it. Like scramble their brains a little bit. You know what I mean? And like see what happens and see how you feel. Or maybe you find yourself like scrolling through social media and only looking at the posts from certain people in the community that are really negative. And maybe you decide, all right, I'm just going to unfollow this person. You can always follow people again, right? But maybe you're just going to unfollow this person for a few weeks and see how it helps you. Because it's these little micro bits that chip away at us. And I don't think you really realize it until you realize that you're unhappy and you may not know why. And it might be because so many little inputs have come in and made you feel bad.
Do you think that there's misconceptions within the entertainment industry in fitness and health?
I mean, I think that I hear people say, I just had a conversation the other day with some people after a workshop, and they said, well, I'm not Brad Pitt, I'm not super hot, and when I get an audition, I know that's what they want. And I'm like, that's insane. Like, we really do live, I feel like, in an amazing time in the industry where you can be you. Like, they're really, yes, like, look, hot is always hot, right?
But sometimes hot is not hot, and I feel like these days.
Well, yeah, sometimes hot is not hot, but it's like nobody's blind, right? But you also really do have an opportunity to just be you and be yourself, and like whatever you look like, and the size that you are, and like the ethnicity that you are, like you can really own that. You don't have to try to fit into another mold. Like, this is such a great time. And so anybody who's feeling like I have to look a certain way or be a certain way, that's just not true. Like, especially if you're in the Southeast, like we're doing a lot of day players, and like you get to just be you. And I think that that's amazing. I think that health and fitness is important, again, because it makes you feel good and it increases your longevity and your ability to do these things. But if you think that you have to look a certain way and that's what they want, like, that's not true. If they sent you the audition, they want you to do it. And they want what you look like, and they want your version of it.
Talk about, because you obviously have a solid kind of routine. I feel like some people might like it, maybe might want to copy it a little bit. Maybe not, maybe so, we'll see. But what's maybe like a routine that you like that makes you feel good? Because I do think that, you're talking about actors, maybe trying to like, oh, well, I have to maybe be this Brad Pitt guy or whatever. But really, we just need to be more confident in who we are, know that that's the superpower that we bring to this business for ourselves and all of our auditions. And so I think a lot of that has to do is just stepping into confidence within ourselves. But I think that could be done kind of through a routine, right? So talk about a routine that you do that makes you feel good, and kind of describe that to us.
I mean, I love routines. Routines are like the thing that...
You hate change so much too.
I really hate change. So I love a routine.
Yeah.
Give that to me. Hate change. I'm sure that's like some weird deep-seated childhood trauma.
100%.
So it's not even my fault.
All right.
It's not. I don't know where it comes from, but like, it's not me.
All right. We'll yell at your dad.
Yeah. No, I mean, for me, I love a solid, like, I like a morning routine. I think that...
Yeah, by the way, earlier you were like, oh yeah, I want to make sure I feel good so I can stay up late. Everyone, this girl is going to bed at 8:30. She has our automatic blinds going down at like 7:30 to trick her that it's night time.
I said stay up late if I had to tape. Like, stay up late if I have to tape something. Not like just to stay up late arbitrarily. That's insane. I am not 22. I'm obviously only 28. So there we go. No, it's like a morning routine for me makes me feel good, and it makes me feel like no matter what happens, if the whole day turns upside down, I have already accomplished something. So for me, it's important that I love getting up early, like when it's still dark outside, because I get up and I walk the dog and I feed her, and then I have a little bit of time before I go to the gym. And so I can meditate, or, I can get a little bit of my emails done before anybody kind of bombards me. But it's like this quiet, dark time that I can really spend with myself and like check in with myself to see like, how do I feel today? Like physically, and then like, how do I feel mentally? And like, is there anything weighing on me? And how am I going to like work through that for the day? Or what are my intentions for the day? And then I normally go to the gym because that makes me feel amazing. And so after I've done those things, it's a solid 3 or 4 hours of time that I've already dedicated, and I feel like I've accomplished something. So having that consistently, like even when we travel, I try to do that because it just makes me feel like I've accomplished something, and I'm able to kind of have that time to check in with myself.
Yeah, that dark time, like you call it, at 5 a.m. It is pretty crazy how just like 90% of the world is asleep.
It's the best.
And so because they're asleep, there is just like nothing that can bother you. Like even if you wake up and go on social media, which you shouldn't, but then go on it again like an hour later, there's nothing new. There's nothing else on there. Like there's just nothing that can distract you. So it is really special, but I don't know. I've read a bunch of books with waking up at 5 a.m.
You just hate waking up early.
I just go back and forth with it, and I just feel like if I wake up when I want to wake up, I just feel so much more energized. And when I wake up at 5 a.m. with you,
you're a monster.
A monster.
You're a monster.
You're a monster.
When you wake up at 5 a.m., the sleep monster has got a hold of you. I can't have a conversation with you. You're like silent. I'm like, I'm afraid. Like, is he okay? Should I keep talking? Should I be energetic? It's the one time though where I feel like the roles are reversed because I'm like ready to go and like excited, and you're like dead, like tired, and I'm like, are you excited to be at the gym? You know what I mean? Like,
well, once we're at the gym, I feel good.
Yeah.
But we got to get there.
Into the bright lights.
Into the bright lights. Yeah. You're right. Yeah.
But that's okay. We're just different. I mean, you like to stay up late, and the sleep monster gets me when I.
Oh my gosh, 9:01, everyone. Candace is. I need that beep button. It's like beep.
Dead? Like I'm dead? Is that what you're trying to say?
No,
like
no,
I
no.
die? Like you flatlined me?
Oh, no,
like,
no.
Beep.
It was like more like a curse word that I wouldn't say out loud to you.
What is it?
Never mind.
I don't even know what curse word you could have put in there.
Oh, Candace is a...
Sleep?
Almost. She's almost asleep. Correct. So the main point is moving on right now.
The main point is that you hate getting up early. I love getting up early. You like staying up late. I don't invite me anywhere after 7 p.m.
Man, yeah, she's not happy about that. Well, I feel like there's relationships with ourselves, which I feel like we've been talking about a lot. But then I think focusing on the relationships around us are also very important. Can you talk about some of the biggest advice you've kind of picked up along the way, along your relationships that you think are important? I feel like we do a pretty good job at communicating or continuing to grow in our communication. When I feel like our communication is poor,
romantic relationships or like friendships relationships?
I think both.
Or
I
like
think
industry relationships.
Well, you're my friend and you're my romantic relationship. Yeah.
So
Give it to me, everyone.
Okay.
But yeah, talk about some stuff that you've kind of learned along the way that is helpful within communication in relationships. Yeah, whatever one you want to gravitate to.
I mean, I think aside from try not to get married at 23.
Which you did?
Which I did. It's a practice run, y'all.
Man, a practice run, she calls it.
It's a practice run. Everyone's here for a practice run.
You've added to the divorce rate.
Everyone's here for a practice run. It's cool.
All right, that's fine.
Yeah, so...
Yeah, get warmed up so you're good with me.
I'm good, bro.
All right.
So, yeah, I mean, I think that in romantic relationships, what I've learned is like, not everything is that serious. Like you and your partner don't need to have the same ideals or agree on everything to have an amazing relationship. There are some fundamental things that, like everybody's going to have the things that are like fundamentally important to them. But like, if you don't eat candy and your partner wants to have some candy, like that doesn't mean they're a bad partner for you. Like that's just a different choice that they've chosen for themselves, And I think that when I was younger, I really thought my partner needed to have every single ideal that I had. And if they didn't, I was going to explain to them why they should because they needed to.
And you did.
And I did. Practice run. So now that I'm older, it's not like I'm just conceding, like, it's fine. But it's really like, it's not, at the end of the day, like, that's just such a, like, normally the things that you think, I wish they agreed with me on that, is like just such a small drop in the bucket to what, choosing to be with someone in a monogamous relationship is such a, like, it really is like a really huge undertaking. And it's really sweet and wonderful that people still choose to do this. And like, so what if they have a different viewpoint than you on something? Like, it doesn't mean they're a bad partner because there's so many other ways that they're going to support you and be there for you. So not everything is that precious. And then I think with my friendships, something I've realized that as an introvert is like harder for me is that if you aren't cultivating those, like then like those aren't going to be there. I know even me, because obviously I hate to be rejected, and not that my friends are going to reject me, but I'm like, I don't want to invite anyone out because like, what if they don't want to come out? You know what I mean? But I know that in the past when I haven't done those things, those relationships, like it's a two-way street. Like you have to keep trying to cultivate those things and watering those gardens and like, showing those people you care and like asking people to hang out, even if you've asked them and they said they were busy before, you know what I mean? So I think like being attentive to the people that are really close to you and making sure you're still cultivating those.
Yeah, I think, man, the friendship relationship game for me, I feel like has been, I feel like I was the most naive when everyone, like, I feel like everyone in the world probably says this, right? Like, oh, as you get older, like things change, relationships change. And I just remember in my 20s being like, that's not going to happen to me.
I'm going to live at the bungalow forever.
I did love the bungalow.
I'm going to have roommates the rest of my life.
I love my roommates so much.
Yeah, I believe it.
But it's just, I feel like I wish that I had the wisdom that I have now when it comes to those relationships. Meaning like, yeah, we all grow and sometimes you grow together. Sometimes you kind of grow apart, and understanding that that's okay. Mm-hmm. And like, people don't like necessarily like owe you anything, or you're not necessarily like super not that you don't deserve things, but like people don't owe you things essentially.
I mean, yeah, and you don't necessarily owe them anything either. Like I think it's sort of like the people around you that don't make you feel good anymore. Like if that person doesn't make you feel good anymore, like you don't necessarily owe them your time either.
Kind of circles back to what we were talking about earlier.
Yeah, like, if you realize that you're constantly moving forward and somebody is stuck, in their own bubble in the past and they're always negative, like, and they're not doing anything, in their world, like, you don't want to be around that. You don't have to. Like, just because you were friends doesn't mean that you have to continue that friendship or that you owe them that friendship if you've tried to reach out and like encourage them and that's not successful.
Yeah. And just understanding that it does happen. It can be okay. It doesn't mean you're bad. It doesn't mean they're bad. It just, people do grow in different directions, and that's okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, Candi VandiZandi, we have to introduce to everyone the Spotlight sign-off. So this is going to be 5 questions I'm going to ask you.
Oh, gosh.
They don't necessarily... Oh, gosh, you're scared?
Yeah. Is it like rapid fire?
It doesn't necessarily have to be rapid fire. I mean, it can be, or you can take your time with the questions. Whatever happens. Okay. Everything you do is right.
Remember that.
Oh, boy.
I'll remember that you said that. And I'll actually have it recorded.
I'll have it recorded.
I'll
so
just
if it
play it back.
Happens to disappear.
Whenever there's a question about my rightness.
Oh, God.
I'll just play it back.
Jeez.
Thank you for that.
Well, question number 1. What is something that you're super grateful for today?
Ooh, today specifically, I'm grateful for you. I think you're amazing, and I love that you love to do things with me and include me, and it's rare that you're ever on a journey that's completely solo, like that you do. I mean, because I am and a doctor, I understand that you value my opinion, but I think like we involve each other in our like hopes and dreams and goals. And so like with the podcast, I think, it's just, I'm like grateful that you're always like wanting to do new things too, and that you want to include me.
Well, I love you, and I'm grateful for you too, even though the question's not for me. Second question is, what is a TV show, movie, book, or event that completely changed the trajectory of your life?
I mean, there's just so many things.
So then so easy to choose one?
I don't really think that's how that works. I mean, I think that probably the first thing that comes to mind is I was working, when I moved back to Atlanta, I was working like, I'm not even kidding. Like I lived at my work. Like I was working a salary job, and I just thought like, this is what I need to do. I was managing like multiple stores in a production facility, and I was like, this is just like what you do as an adult. You get a job, you get a salary. Like this is what you do. You work 100 hours a week, you manage employees. And I started taking acting classes. And I remember, and this is when I started interning at the studio. And I remember just being so tired and thinking like, I think I have to quit my salary job, because if I don't think I'm ever going to be able to be an actor. I'm too tired, and I can't leave work to go to these commercial auditions because everything was in person then. And like, I think that I have to quit, and I don't know what I'm going to do. And I guess I'm going to have to like succumb to waiting tables again, or I drove for Uber, it was what I did. And, you know, I think like making that decision to like take that leap of faith did change my whole life, because I wouldn't have been able to sustain like focusing on an acting career and interning at the studio, which really brought me joy, and working 100 hours a week at my job. There's just no way.
We talked about your routine a little bit. What is one part of your routine that you really cherish? The
silence. I mean,
spoken like a true introvert.
Yeah, I love this. I love it. I love the quiet because it helps me hear myself better. And I think that we're bombarded with noises and sounds and videos all day long. And so like I can really hear my own thoughts in the silence. And sometimes they're positive and sometimes they're not great, and I need to reframe them. But it really does help me just hear, like, it's a barometer of where I'm at.
What is a mantra that you live by that also helps you within your business?
Well, this is a mantra that I like sort of reiterate in my own life. And so I think that it inadvertently helps in the actor business, is that it's never too late to completely change your life. And it's never too late to like start again, whether that means like getting reinvigorated with your acting career, or starting a new diet that you wanted to, or starting a new workout routine, or changing your career, or starting a new hobby. Like, I think so many people, they're like, well, by this age, I can't redo it again. Or I got so far and I failed, and so like I can't start over because what will people think of me? Or, well, I can't do this because like all my friends think I do XYZ, you know? And so I just know in my life I've had many iterations of who I am and what I believe and what I know to be true. And so it's never too late. You can literally be anything you want to be whenever you want to be it. And I think that if you remember that, it gives you all the power that everybody's always trying to take away from you.
Damn, let's go. Amen. And so then last question, which maybe even pairs up, we'll see, is if we could give the world a piece of advice based on your life right now, what would that piece of advice be?
It's such a heavy question.
Well.
Well.
That's it. Did you come here for light shit?
I mean, I thought this was going to be funny. I was actually told there would be snacks. Like, I don't know.
You're very funny.
No, I'm funny. I'm waiting for the funny from you.
I wasn't funny at all.
Funny. No, you were funny. I think that
everyone comment who was funnier. See who wins.
That's aggressive. I think that goes back to what I was saying. Don't be afraid of what other people think if you want to try something new, whether that's a new hobby or a lifestyle change or a relationship change or, you know, a diet change. Like, don't be afraid of what other people are going to think about you, because nobody cares about you that much. And I mean that in the nicest possible way. Like, people just aren't thinking about you like you think they're thinking about you. Did people even notice that I started eating 18 hamburgers a day and stopped eating tofu? They probably didn't. And I was terrified that they would.
And you deleted those Instagram
and I
pictures
deleted
for
those
no
Instagram
reason.
Pictures. Well, you know, it has to make sense. But yeah, I'm just like, don't let the fear of what other people are going to think about you stop you from changing your life for the better, because you deserve to have a life where you feel good and inspired and happy.
Boom. I love it. Candi VandiZandi, Candice Malinowski. Thank you so much for being
Malinowski VandiZandi.
Malinowski. Yeah. Could you imagine if that's what it was on your
I
ID?
I wouldn't.
Candice Malinowski, Candi Malinowski VandiZandi.
That's too many letters in a Scantron. There's no way I'm getting it anywhere.
There's no way. But thank you so much. I love you.
Thanks for having me. I love you.
I thought your insight was fantastic. Everyone, thank you so much for watching. If you liked this episode, please send it to an actor friend or any friend for that matter that you think would get a lot out of this. And then please subscribe and definitely leave us a review. It's going to help us in a big, big way grow this so we can continue to bring you fantastic, powerful guests to help and serve you in a big way. Everyone, thanks so much for tuning in to Get Scene Unscripted. We'll see you on the next one.